Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be talking about the future of driving.
The future of driving.
Yeah, a future where your car knows you better than you know yourself.
Wow.
We're diving deep into a new Tesla patent
Oh, yeah.
that's raising eyebrows and sparking some debate.
This one is pretty wild.
Yeah, so what is it about this patent that has everyone talking?
Well, I think what's so captivating about this patent is that it really pushes the boundaries
Okay.
of what we even consider a car to be. You
Yeah.
know, it's not just about getting from point A to point B anymore.
Right.
It's about creating this personalized sanctuary on wheels,
Okay.
an extension of your digital life.
Then no more fighting over the radio station.
Exactly.
Or like freezing your passenger out with the AC.
No more arguments about the temperature.
Okay, tell me more.
So Tesla envisions a car that can recognize each occupant,
Uh-huh.
remember their preferences,
Yeah.
and adjust the entire in-cabin experience
Wow.
accordingly.
So I step into my Tesla.
Yes.
And it automatically adjusts my seat. Yes.
Sets the temperature
Uh-huh.
and even cues up my favorite podcast.
That's the idea.
That's pretty slick.
Yeah.
But how does it actually work?
So
Is
it's
this like mind-reading technology?
not quite mind reading,
Right.
but it's pretty close.
Right.
So the patent outlines a system that utilizes a network of cameras and sensors,
Okay.
much like the ones that are already used for autopilot,
Uh-huh.
to gather information about the occupants.
Okay.
And it goes beyond just facial recognition.
Okay.
Think body positioning, even subtle movements and adjustments.
So it's not just about who you are,
Right.
but how you're sitting
Exactly.
and moving within the car.
Precisely. So Tesla is using a concept they call Z-heights
Nice.
to map the position of each occupant
Okay.
in 3D space.
I see.
Imagine it like a depth sensor on your smartphone,
Mm-hmm.
but instead of creating a 3D model of your face,
Yeah.
it's creating a 3D model of the entire cabin.
Okay. I'm picturing it.
Yeah.
But how does knowing my Z height,
Translate into a more personalized experience.
this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
By understanding each occupant's position
Uh-huh.
relative to the car's systems,
Yeah.
the AI can fine-tune everything
Okay.
from audio to climate control
Gotcha.
with incredible precision.
Give me an example.
Sure. So let's say the passenger is leaning back.
Okay.
The system could subtly shift the audio balance
Uh-huh.
towards the driver's side,
I see.
ensuring that they still have an optimal listening experience.
Wow, that's next level attention to detail.
It is.
So no more blasting my passenger with cold air from the vent.
No more icy blasts.
Oh, okay.
The patent even describes adjusting the angle of airflow
Oh, wow.
based on the Z heights of occupants' shoulders and heads.
Okay.
It's all about maximizing comfort
Yeah.
and creating a truly individualized experience.
It sounds like a dream for anyone who's ever been stuck in a car with bad climate control.
Absolutely.
But let's shift gears for a second and talk
Yeah.
about the safety implications. What kind of features are they proposing on that front?
Well, imagine a car that's not just reacting to your driving,
Okay.
but proactively monitoring your well-being.
Mm-hmm.
The patent describes a system that uses facial recognition
Yeah.
and posture analysis to detect signs of driver drowsiness
Okay.
or distraction.
So if I start nodding off at the wheel,
Exactly.
my Tesla will stage an intervention.
You could say
Yeah.
that the system would issue alerts,
Right.
maybe even activate haptic feedback
Interesting.
through the steering wheel or seat to get your attention.
Uh-huh.
And if those measures fail,
Yeah.
it could potentially take control and bring the vehicle to a safe stop.
Okay, so it's like having a super attentive co-pilot
Right.
who's always looking out for you.
Exactly.
But doesn't that raise some concerns about the car taking over?
That's a valid point.
Yeah,
The line between helpful assistance
right.
and intrusive control is a fine one.
Yeah.
The key, as the patent suggests, is user control.
Yep.
Drivers should be able to customize the sensitivity of these features
Uh-huh.
or even disable them entirely.
Okay, so it's not about the car taking over.
Right.
It's about giving drivers more options
Yes.
and enhancing their awareness on the road.
Exactly.
But what happens in case of an accident?
This is where the system really shines.
Okay.
It's designed to automatically contact emergency services,
Uh-huh.
providing a detailed report.
And what's in this report?
That includes the vehicle's location,
Okay,
speed direction,
gotcha.
and even the severity of impact based on sensor data.
So it's not just a basic help I've crashed call. It's like a comprehensive data package
Exactly.
that could help first responders assess the situation
Yes.
and provide faster, more targeted assistance.
Precisely. It could even transmit images from the car's cameras,
Really?
providing crucial visual evidence of the accident scene.
Wow. The potential for saving lives is huge.
It is.
This is seriously impressive stuff.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
From personalized comfort features
Yeah.
to potentially life-saving safety measures.
Absolutely.
But I can't shake this feeling
What's that?
that there's like a whole other layer to this story.
You're right. We've only scratched the surface.
Yeah.
This patent opens up a Pandora's box of questions
Like what?
about data privacy,
Right.
the role of AI in our lives, and the future of human-machine interaction.
Okay.
And those are conversations we need to have.
Absolutely. We'll delve into those more complex aspects in just a minute.
Okay.
But before we do, I want to hear from you.
All right.
What are your initial thoughts on this Tesla patent?
Yeah.
Are you excited about the possibilities,
Mhm.
or do you have some reservations?
Yeah, let us know.
Share your thoughts with us on social media
That's right.
using the hashtag #DeepDiveTesla.
We'll be right back.
We'll be back in a moment to continue our deep dive.
To continue the conversation,
Stay tuned.
don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Before the break, we were talking about this Tesla patent and its potential to revolutionize the in-car experience.
Yeah, and all of the personalized features are definitely attention-grabbing.
Yeah.
But I think it's time to address the elephant in the room.
Okay, what's that?
Data.
Oh, yeah.
This level of personalization
Mm-hmm.
requires the car to collect
Right.
and analyze a massive amount of information about us.
It's true. It's enough to make anyone a bit uneasy.
Absolutely. And the patent itself doesn't really go into great detail about data security
Right.
or privacy policies,
Yeah.
but it's something that Tesla's going to have to address.
I mean, we're talking about facial recognition,
Yeah.
body positioning, potentially even inferences about our emotional state.
That's right.
It raises a lot of questions about who has access to this data and how it's being used.
Exactly. And while the patent focuses on all the potential benefits,
Mm-hmm.
it's important to also consider the potential downsides as well. What happens if this data falls into the wrong hands?
Yeah, that's scary.
Could it be used for surveillance or even targeted advertising?
Okay, so our cars could become data mining machines.
It's a possibility.
But isn't this a trend we're already seeing with our smartphones
You're absolutely right.
and other connected devices?
It is a trend.
So where do we draw the line?
Right. That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
As consumers, I think we need to be aware of the data that we're generating.
Okay.
And we have to demand transparency from companies like Tesla about how our information is being handled.
Transparency is key.
Yes.
But let's not forget,
Yeah,
Tesla has a pretty good track record when it comes to innovation.
that's true.
They've pushed the boundaries in the automotive industry time and time again.
They have, and they've faced their fair share of scrutiny and skepticism along the way.
Well, of course.
It's a balancing act.
Yeah.
On one hand, we want these companies to push the envelope and develop groundbreaking technologies.
Right.
But on the other hand, we need to make sure that those technologies are developed responsibly and ethically.
It's a classic dilemma in the tech world.
It is.
Progress versus privacy.
Yeah.
Innovation versus responsibility.
Right. But we also have to remember that this is still just a patent.
Okay, so there's no guarantee that Tesla will actually implement any of this.
Exactly. Patents are often filed to protect intellectual property and explore future possibilities.
So they could just be brainstorming and throwing ideas out there.
It's possible, but given Tesla's history
Yeah.
of really pushing the limits,
Yeah.
I wouldn't dismiss this patent as just mere speculation.
Okay, so what if they do move forward with some of these ideas?
Right.
What kind of impact could this have on the whole automotive industry?
It has the potential to be a major disruptor.
In what way?
I mean, imagine a world where your car truly understands your needs and preferences.
Okay.
It could completely change the way we interact with our vehicles
Right.
and redefine what we expect from a driving experience.
Think about the competitive advantage.
Oh, yeah.
If Tesla's the first to offer this level of personalized in-car experience,
Huge.
it could force other automakers to play catch up.
It would definitely raise the bar, and I think it would spark a wider conversation
About what?
about the role of AI in our cars
Uh-huh.
and the trade-offs we're willing to make for convenience
Okay.
and personalization.
So it's not just about Tesla. It's
Yeah.
about the future of driving itself.
It is.
But let's get back to this patent
Okay.
and dig into some of the more technical details.
Sure.
One thing that stood out to me was this concept of an associative relationship
Yes.
between the Z heights of occupants and the car's systems.
Right. Can you break that down?
Yeah.
So it's actually a pretty elegant solution to a really complex problem.
Okay.
Instead of treating each occupant and each system as like separate entities,
Okay.
the AI creates this dynamic map
I see.
of the entire cabin.
Gotcha.
It's constantly analyzing the relative positions of everything,
Yeah.
allowing for these incredibly precise
Okay.
and personalized adjustments.
So it's like the car is conducting this symphony of micro adjustments,
That's a great analogy.
constantly optimizing the experience for each person.
It's about creating this harmonious balance
Yeah.
within the cabin where everyone's needs are met without any compromise.
It's really impressive.
It is.
But it makes me wonder,
What's that?
wouldn't this level of personalization create even more data points for the AI to collect and analyze?
That's inevitable.
Okay.
The more personalized the experience becomes,
Right.
the more data the system needs to gather
Yeah.
and process. But that's where those ethical considerations
Right.
we discussed earlier come into play.
Yeah.
Transparency, data security, and user control.
Those are important. They're paramount.
We can't just like embrace the wow factor of this new technology
Right.
without acknowledging the potential trade-offs.
Absolutely.
But it's hard not to get excited about the possibilities.
I agree. The idea of a car that adapts to you, anticipates your needs,
Yeah?
and enhances your safety.
It's compelling.
It's incredibly compelling.
But it's also a future that we need to approach carefully.
We do, with both enthusiasm and a healthy dose of skepticism.
Yeah, that's a good balance, I think.
It is.
And speaking of confronting new possibilities,
Yeah.
let's talk about the feature that has everyone talking.
Okay.
The ability to detect driver distress.
Right.
So how do they propose to actually do that?
Well, the patent describes using a combination of facial recognition and posture analysis
Posture analysis.
to monitor the driver's state.
Right.
It would be looking for telltale signs of drowsiness,
Yeah.
distraction, or even emotional distress.
So the car is reading our body language
In a way, yes.
and trying to anticipate our needs even before we're aware of them ourselves.
It's about creating a more intuitive
Okay.
and responsive driving experience, one that goes beyond simply following your commands.
But what if the system misinterprets our signals?
What if I'm just deep in thought
Yeah.
and the car thinks I'm distressed?
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
And it really highlights the importance of machine learning
Uh-huh.
and continuous improvement.
Okay.
The system would need to be trained on massive amounts of data
Right.
to accurately interpret human behavior
Gotcha.
and avoid those false positives.
So the more data the AI has,
Yes,
the better it becomes at understanding us?
exactly. But it also underscores the need
Yeah.
for diverse and representative data sets
Okay.
to ensure that the system works for everyone,
Right.
regardless of age, gender, or cultural background.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that even the most advanced AI systems are only as good as the data that they're trained on.
That's right.
And that brings us back to data privacy.
Absolutely.
This is a big one.
It is. As we develop more and more sophisticated AI systems,
Uh-huh.
we need to be mindful of the ethical implications
Right.
and ensure that individual rights are protected.
It's a complex and evolving landscape,
It is.
but it's a conversation that we need to have.
Absolutely. The future of driving depends on it.
Okay. And that's a perfect segue to our next segment,
Okay.
where we'll delve even deeper into these ethical considerations.
Let's do it.
Stay tuned. Welcome back, deep divers. Before we were talking about the ethical implications of this Tesla patent.
Yeah, venturing into uncharted territory.
It feels that way, right?
It does.
Really bad.
AI integration like this in our vehicles
Yeah.
raises a lot of questions that we as a society haven't fully grappled with yet.
It's like we're standing at a crossroads,
I like that.
right?
Yeah.
And one path leads to amazing convenience and personalized experiences, but the other path leads to a world where every move is tracked and analyzed.
That's a powerful image.
Yeah.
It really highlights how important it is to approach this technology carefully.
Right?
With a sense of wonder, for sure, but also with a healthy dose of caution.
Yeah. So, like, what are the big questions we should be asking ourselves?
I think a couple of big ones are, at what point does personalization become too intrusive?
Okay. Yeah.
And when does helpful assistance cross the line into surveillance?
Yeah, those are tough questions.
They are.
No easy answers.
No.
But technology itself is neutral, right?
Absolutely.
It's how we choose to use it that determines its impact.
I completely agree. We can't just demonize AI
Right.
or shy away from its potential.
Yeah.
I think the key is to engage in these thoughtful dialogues.
Have those conversations.
Exactly. Weigh the benefits against the risks.
Yeah.
and to establish ethical guidelines
Okay.
for its development and deployment.
That's what we're trying to do here today, right?
That's exactly right.
We're not providing all the answers.
Nope.
But we're sparking that conversation.
Yes.
Encouraging critical thinking and hopefully helping our listeners navigate all of this.
That's the essence of the deep dive.
Yeah, to explore all the different perspectives.
Yes, empower our listeners to form their own informed opinions.
Okay, so let's circle back to the patent.
All right.
There's one aspect that we haven't really talked about yet.
Okay.
And that's personalized driver profiles.
Yes, this is where the AI starts to feel like a personal assistant,
Yeah.
learning your preferences, anticipating your needs.
So it remembers more than just my seat position
Way more.
and my mirror settings.
It goes much deeper.
Okay, like what?
Imagine the AI adjusting the steering wheel sensitivity,
Uh-huh.
the accelerator pedal response,
Wow.
even the firmness of the suspension,
Okay.
based on your individual driving style.
So it tailors the entire driving experience to my preferences.
Precisely think of it as creating a custom driving mode,
That's wild.
uniquely suited to you, and it can even learn and adapt over time,
Really?
becoming more refined and personalized with every drive.
That sounds amazing.
It does.
But all this personalization creates even more data for the AI.
It does. The more personalized the experience, the more data the system needs.
But then we're back to those ethical considerations.
We are transparency, data security, and user control.
Right, because we can't just get caught up in the wow factor.
Yeah, there are trade-offs.
Without thinking about the potential downsides.
Exactly.
But it's exciting stuff.
It is incredibly compelling.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one question.
All right, I like it.
What does it mean for the future of driving if our cars become extensions of ourselves, powered by algorithms that know us better than we know ourselves?
That's a great question to ponder.
Yeah, it's a question we're going to continue to grapple with as this technology evolves.
We will, but one thing's for sure.
What's that?
The journey's going to be fascinating,
Oh, yeah.
challenging, and full of surprises.
And that's where we leave you, deep divers.
Safe travels, everyone.
Keep those minds curious, stay engaged in the conversation, and join us next time for another deep dive into the world of cutting-edge tech.
We'll see you then.
Until then, drive safe, stay informed, and keep exploring the possibilities.